It's me, John D. Oh, what? Wow, what a week! It's just started, but I mean, it's been about what 4 or 5 days since we were live before, and the world has shifted, right? I mean, it's whoa, how crazy is this? Just absolutely crazy out there, folks, and we really need to talk about it. No doubt about it. So we definitely need to chop it up here and so to speak, if you will, and discuss what's going on. Donald Trump, and I mean Donald Trump has survived another situation on Sunday. I want to talk about it, but there are two things. One is my daughter's still a little bit under the weather, and we're managing that. The second thing is, because of the nature of events, like sometimes it's great to go live, and sometimes it's better to kind of have a pause. And I just think it's important to, and I'm not casting aspersions on anyone or anything like that, but I just think it's better to add more light than heat, if you will, and just get the facts and all that. So we've had some time to sort of look at what's going on out there and see what's up. And I talked to PFV, my brother and stuff like Paul Villarreal, and he's been posting all day on his X. You should go check him out. He's almost up to 22,000 followers now, I think. But in reviewing what's going on, I'm just sort of encapsulating everything. And this is why I said he would be a great vice president. And I mean, I have to give props. I mean, JD Vance and Vivek Ramaswamy have really been doing some excellent work. I've been following JD more than Vivek, but I've been seeing some stuff that Vivek's been doing. Just, and again, I got to give props to Yale Law School, right? I mean, because come on now. But I wanted to sort of talk about what JD has said. I've just barely skimmed part of it. But it looked pretty substantive. It looked like it was pretty thorough. And, Paul spoke highly of it. So I thought like that's probably the best place to sort of start. And of course, Trump has had his comments and his reaction, and I'll kind of give my take as well. So we'll kind of go through it together, sort of real time, if you will. So let's take a look at that right now here. Give me a second here. And let's start with JD, and then we'll go to Trump. And we'll see. And it's just incredible. I mean, not that far from me. I mean, I'm over here in the Treasure Coast and about an hour away, West Palm Beach, on Sunday. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But let's see what JD has to say about this and a range of issues, because we're seeing a lot of things happening on a lot of different stories. And I think he's going to be addressing some of that. So let's see what JD has to say here. Okay. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to go through this and just, JD out there, if you have any issues or anything or any comments, let me know, whatnot. This is obviously, you're a major public figure. This is a news story. This is a public post right here. And obviously I'm going to be giving commentary to it and everything like that the whole way. So, and I think it's important that we really go through the elements here. So with that, let's proceed. Here we go. Yesterday, Donald J. Trump nearly lost his life. I'm gonna edit some of this for the purposes of the online platforms here, but you can read what's written. So this is going to be my sort of paraphrase in tweaks given the online platforms, and I think you can understand that. A blank waited for him in the bushes. He brought a GoPro camera to record it. Secret Service agents spotted the blank through the fence. And the blank fled, he was caught, and now we slowly learn about him and his motive. Again, I'm not going to read everything word for word here. You can see what's going on up there. President Trump is my running mate, my friend, but he is more importantly a father and grandfather to people who love him very much. I want him to have many more years with his family. Absolutely. And selfishly, I'd like many more with my own. Sure, of course. I admire the president for calling for peace and calm. And look, let me stop right there. That's absolutely right. And I was going to say this yesterday. This is so important when I was going to come on the air and stuff like that. Like that was the main thing I was going to, like, we needed to hear, and President Biden has had some statements, and I know Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee, has had some statements, at least a statement as well. I haven't followed everything. Again, I've been taking care of a daughter who's under the weather. But I really felt like it was crucial, and there's still time, right, for Vice President Harris, President Biden to come out on camera and tell the Democrats, rhetoric wise, to stand down, if you will. And, we get into a lot of this of, oh, this side's worse than this side, and you said this. And so there's a lot of that. And I don't want to engage in that. I don't think it's productive to say, hey, let's call for unity. But look how bad these, the other side is. I don't think that's the way to go. I do think that as leaders who are currently in office and running for that same office, the current president, the current vice president, the current Democrat nominee that's going to be president, either Donald Trump or Kamala Harris are going to be president. I mean, this has been an insane year. Who knows? I mean, but that's how it should be, right? But gosh forbid, right? So, and listen, I'm doing my best here. It is a live show. I may make some mistakes. If I do, I apologize ahead of time, and I'll revise and extend that as I can. This is such an insane year. Can it get any crazier, right? I hope not. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's important for leaders to be leaders and to come out and say, both sides say, we need calm. And someone else said this too, and that's exactly what I was going to say. So I might as well say it now in more detail. Whether Trump wins, Vice President Harris wins, whoever wins, the world goes on. Okay. Obviously, I think it's important on broadcast. I mean, where I stand, everything like that. But I mean, like we have to live together. We have to work together. This rhetoric of it's an existential threat to democracy, it's got to stop. It's not. I mean, by definition, Trump was president. Now he's not. Obviously, there was a change there. The world didn't end when Trump was president. A lot of people said it was pretty darn good, if not great, economic wise and stuff like that. Democrats are president now, or and then control the Senate. I mean, this is campaigns are campaigns, politicians are politicians. But the problem with DC and some of these politicians, they think the most important thing, important. But it's like in the arc of history, this too will pass. And in 100 years or 200 years or 1,000 years or whatever it is, or, whatever religion you believe in or don't believe in, whatever, like this, we're a blip, dude. Like, people have to calm down. And, and this is, I gotta be careful how I say this. I was thinking about this, right? I don't know how to get this out right, but and this is maybe more. I don't know. I don't know if this is cope. I don't know what this is, right? But it just kind of came to me, right? And it's like thinking about my own life and stuff like that. Like, oh man, like I really, I've said this before, and I don't want to get swerved here because that's too much stuff to do. But I'll just lay this out here very, very quickly. Like, hey, if I had made different choices, if I was a sellout, I'd be rich, right? But I believe in free speech, and Elon Musk put up there, and I may be able to find it, that hey, that basically, if the price of free speech was $44 billion to buy Twitter, it was well worth it. I don't have that money, but I totally agree with that, right? And we've all to different degrees, those that are, advocating for freedom, liberty, opportunity, equality, free speech, and all that type of stuff, have made some whatever level of sacrifice that is, right? For that, you've got Bobby Kennedy out there, Nicole Shanahan out there, Bill Ackerman out there, Tulsi Gabbard. There's a lot of people that have stepped up on that. Similarly, for myself, I was thinking about look at where I'm at, now. I wish I was, and I've done pretty well, but I wish I've done more for my family. And do I have enough time to be able to put all these things together do I look like a loser or whatever that it is, all these thoughts that go through your head, right? And then I thought about it, and you look at, and again, I want to be very careful with the rhetoric here, but let's take it into more of an abstraction. If someone says, hey, you could get $1 million or $2 million, or name the number, or be really successful, but you'd have to support some. I'm not even going to use a country, like, because I just don't want to get it. Some authoritarian regime, extreme regime, whatever that is. Look now, historically, whatever. Yeah, I'm not down with that. You know what I mean? And a lot of people aren't. Or put it another way, like the old, devil went down to Georgia type of thing. And again, not to whatever you believe in, but and someone said this too. It's like, that heaven is heaven, and this is, the land of the material is a different land. Or you look at Hollywood, you look at some of these things, they talk about all kinds of stuff there about, what goes on there, right? Or historically or whatever. And again, I don't get swerved. I'm not alleging anything. I'm just, or anything like that. But the point is, and I got to move off this. We'll cover a lot of ground quickly. I'm trying to just finesse this as much as I can. If the proposition was, if you believe in this thing, the proposition was that you had to make a deal. I'm not going to use this quite right, but a Faustian bargain, if you will, with, and some kind of evil or evil regime, whatever you want to call it, like an evil regime, whatever, supernatural, whatever like that, and you'd be successful for here and now. Was that something that you would do? I wouldn't. No, of course not. Like, when you put it like that, it feels different. Does that make sense? And maybe this is just silly. Maybe it's just cope. Maybe it's just my upbringing as an altar boy in the Catholic Church or something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but I think that even at the mundane level, I saw this one, I can't remember. I want to say Erica Kohlberg. I think that's right. Very successful YouTuber. She used to be a corporate attorney. So I understand that about how she regales about, like, hey, her grandpa was sick and was, I guess, dying. And, the corporate partner wanted her to work through it, and she couldn't get the deadline extension. Again, I'm not alleging anything. This is my paraphrase of what I think was said. And she ended up, doing the work, trying to put it together, and she really regretted that. And I've heard from a lot of, attorneys, and the line she uses, I think it was like, what do you think we pay you so much for, or something like that. And so whether it's corporate jobs, whether it's, political beliefs, whether it's spiritual beliefs, whether, we all have to make our decisions on a moral basis about what is acceptable and what's not. And if you believe in spirituality and a life hereafter, whatever like that, then, and what does it matter? My grandma, who, yeah, if you believe in something, like, let me tell you something, that woman was, I think, 5'2", 5'4", I don't know, but I mean, you could feel the power of God in that woman. And maybe it's my grandma, but I mean, let me tell you something. And she was at church quite a bit. God rest her soul. And I love my grandma, Regina Haynes. And so she would tell me that it's harder for a rich person, the proverb, to get into heaven than the camel through the eye of a needle, or something like that. And I don't know all my verses, and I do apologize for that. But there's something to that. And wherever you come down, and we're all for everybody, whatever you believe. And I think I do want to say this as an aside. I do know Harmeet Dillon from when I was back in California. I don't say we know each other like really well, but we know each other. We pass each other. We were talking and doing, acquaintances, if you will. And she did a thing at the Republican National Convention. Some people, I think, maybe criticize that. I thought that was really uncool. Like, Harmeet's cool, and, like, I don't care what you believe in. I love everybody, right? Everyone, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, whatever. I don't care. I love everybody, right? And it's barring like super extreme stuff or whatever, But I don't know. I can't cover everything right here, obviously, but you get the idea. And this is the point: is the golden rule: do unto others as you'd have to do unto you, right? And that is going to relate to this and get back to all this stuff. And so the point of it is money worth compromising your values? Is success worth compromising our values as a society in America and stuff like that? Is an election worth these things that are almost happening to Donald Trump? Absolutely. Come on. Obviously has broader ramifications as far as you want to talk about democracy and election integrity and all that type of stuff, right? Let alone the spiritual and hereafter ramifications. And so it's the old saying, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto God what is God's, right? And again, I don't want to get super religious, stuff like that. And something, Bible school's coming back to me now and everything like that. But I think that, Sunday was a scary situation, just like Butler, Pennsylvania was a scary situation. I think it gives us time to sort of reflect and think about where we're at, a check-in. I would rather be broke on a deserted island with my family, healthy and safe, than sitting on millions and millions of dollars by myself and lost my family, right? Or, you go on down that analysis. Anyway, I think you understand what I'm sort of getting at here. And I think we all live on the same earth. We all have to be respectful with each other. I think on a range of issues, there's things going on right now, and I have friends that have different opinions, and I like to listen because, I don't have all the answers, but I want to learn, right? And I just feel like anytime you come from a position of we're 100% right, you're 100% wrong, whatever happens to us is the most important. Whatever happens to you is not important. That's a bad spot to be in. Whatever that is, red, blue, Democrat, Republican, whatever that is, that's a bad spot to be in. And I think JD's going to talk about this. We're going to get into it some more here. But I want to take that little aside because I think we need to kind of abstract a little bit more and see the forest through the trees and really think about some of this stuff. You have to put yourself. I'm a really, really good salesperson, and people are like, "What's your secret?" There's not really a secret, dude. I mean, the first thing you got to do is put yourself in the buyer's shoes. What is their motivation? Why do they? If you can't empathize with someone else, that's a problem, right? So anyway, again, I may have totally messed that all up, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say there. I don't want to take any more time on this because I want to get into JD stuff and President Trump's response as well, comments as well. But I just think that's an important thing. We need leaders to step out there and listen, do what George Bush did to some extent, or what Trump did in Butler. Stand up and say, President Biden, Vice President Harris, this is unacceptable. We do not support what happened here. We want everyone to be safe. And I didn't read all their statements, so maybe they've said, but I mean, say it on camera. We need to ratchet this down. And I'm not sitting here as the word police or anything like that. You know what I mean? And people can say things and, oh, you say something live and maybe I should have said this instead of that, or maybe whatever. So I understand that. But in general, we got to stop this feeling that democracy's on the line. And if this side wins, it's over. And if this side wins, it's just totally good. Life's not like that. So if Trump, obviously I hope Trump wins. And if Trump wins, hopefully things will get a lot better. And hopefully it's going to be great for us. And I believe that. That's what I think. Okay. But if Kamala Harris, wins, guess what? She's in office right now. Life will go on. It'll be okay. It really will. And if things get like where it doesn't seem like it's as cool anymore in America, then, whatever, I'm here. I love America. I'm a super patriot, but I mean, maybe other people want to do other, whatever, dude. That's why there's different states, there's different countries, there's different things. Maybe the more people come here to Florida, I don't know. And vice versa. Like it's like every time in every election, it's like, oh, if the Republicans win, we're going to Canada, Hollywood, they stay here. It's okay. They make more money, whatever. Like people have to just calm down and just learn to talk to each other. Maybe it's like, hey, you know what? Like, my mom, like I called her one time during a radio show. It's hilarious. I kind of had a feeling that could have happened. And she hung up on me when she knew she was on the air. Super liberal, super liberal. And, sometimes I'll just talk to her and just see what's your opinion? Okay, I'll hear you out. And then vice versa. I like to think I do a little bit better job of listening, but it's okay. But she's still my mom. I still love her. And that's how we need to be here in America. Because you get the point of it. I've gone on a little bit of a rant there, but I just think that it's like we've had 2 of these things in 60 days. I think it's important that we need to take some inventory of it. And I implore President Biden and Vice President Harris to get on camera. Same thing for Trump and Vance, and we gotta chill it out. We gotta have to chill it out. Okay, period. Now there's whatever, I don't know how many, 330, 350 million people in America now, whatever like that. But you can't be, people are going to do what they're going to do, but you have to have some leadership. Let's get back to what JD Vance is saying here. So hopefully that made some sense. Love to see your comments below. And again, if I made a mistake, and I may have made a mistake, then I apologize, and I'll revise and extend later and all that. So let's get to it. But I just really understood that. Okay, I admire the president for calling for peace and calm. The rhetoric is out of control. It nearly got Steve Scalise and many others. Again, I'm gonna edit some things out here for obvious reasons for the live stuff and the various social platforms. Many others blanked a few years ago. It nearly got Donald Trump blank twice. But I want to say something about yesterday's news and how it illuminates the difference between vigorous debate and blank rhetoric. Okay, see, this is why I like JD Vance. That's what I'm saying. Like I felt I knew what this was before I saw it. That's why I strongly support JD Vance. I'm so happy that his vice president nomination right here. Here's what we know so far. Kamala Harris has said that, quote, democracy is on the line in her race against President Trump. The blank agreed and used the exact same phrase. He had Kamala Harris bumper sticker. He had a Kamala Harris bumper sticker on his truck. He was obsessed with Ukraine's, quote, fight for democracy, and absorbed many of the unhinged views of the blank, blank, blank. His name is Ryan Ruth, and he donated 19 times to Democrat causes and 0 to Republican ones. And again, I don't, I'm not trying to say one side versus the other side, but I do think that like this whole thing of like, oh, Trump, I saw somewhere, and maybe this is completely wrong, that like, Trump's responsible for the rhetoric, or that somehow someone that's right wing will go after Trump. Like, please, are you serious? Like, come on. Like that doesn't make any sense, right? Barring some crazy explanation, which we haven't seen. So, okay. How do you think the Democrats and their media allies would respond if a 19-time Republican donor tried to blank a Democrat official? And listen, I gave respect, as I did on my LinkedIn, Senator Blumenthal, who said that people are going to be shocked. I think that was the word he used. If I'm incorrect, correct me, Senator Blumenthal. And he was looking at the stuff, and the Senate's going to have a report on what happened in Butler. We cannot have this. Trump said that like being president or being president is one of the most dangerous jobs out there. Like, historically, that's, I guess, accurate. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Here's the way it works, peeps. We have an electoral college, constitutional republic. We understand how that works. We understand all that. But at the end of the day, the people are in charge. My biggest problem here is that the voters didn't vote in the primary for Kamala Harris. She's the nominee, whatever. I mean, it's a little bit funky with the party in term, not, but I mean, like the way it is. Okay, yeah, the parties put the candidates up, so it's a little bit, But at the end of the day, the people have to be in charge. The people have to vote for it. People have to nominate, and then people vote, and you got the electors. We understand. We're not doing a civics lesson here, but the people have to be in charge. That's how it has to be to have any legitimacy, right? For any regime, is that the public, the representatives have to represent the people. Okay. So for years, Kamala Harris's campaign, it's a question that answers itself. For years, Kamala Harris campaign surrogates have said things like, quote, Trump has to be blank. And how have the media allies responded to the second blank on Donald Trump in as many months? NBC News called the blank a, quote, golf club incident. The LA Times told us that Trump, quote, Trump targeted a golf club. USA Today's top of the fold headline is Hope in America, and they published a preposterous letter to the editor arguing that Trump brings these things on himself. Crazy. Super crazy. CNN's Dana Bash, who just yesterday bizarrely accused me of inciting a blank, said today that Harris's campaign rhetoric didn't motivate Ruth, even though he echoed their rhetoric explicitly. Yeah, I don't, Dana Bash has had some interesting commentary lately. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into that. I mean, a lot of media, I'm not trying to call her out. I just saw the thing that she did with JD Vance. Maybe that's why, whatever. But, and maybe they think that way about some of the Republican side or conservative side. So anyway, I don't get distracted. PBS's weekend show perfectly illustrates the doubles, in my opinion, of course, double standard of Kamala Harris's media friends after spending 30 seconds on the second blank President Trump. Again, I'm changing some things here, obviously. They then focused on the real danger. Me and President Trump, who are, according to them, personally responsible for the blank about Springfield. Of course, I repeatedly condemned those blanks, and reports today suggest they came from a foreign country. Not, as the media suggested, a deranged Trump fan. The double standard is breathtaking. Donald Trump and I are, by their account, directly responsible for the blank from foreign countries. Why? Because we had the audacity to repeat what residents told us about the problems in their town. Meanwhile, Harris allies called for Trump to be blank, and the media publishes arguments that he deserved blank. So again, let me take a break here and talk about this for a second. So, as I said before, when I posted, I don't know what the specifics are. I'm not on the ground anywhere else other than where I'm at and everything like that. But I do, when you have, there are issues out there related to the border that people are talking about, whether they're in New York City or Chicago or LA or Florida or Texas or California or a lot of places. And the thing is that, we need to have a conversation as a country. We need to have the real data, tell the truth about everything. We need to have a conversation. We need to figure out what we're going to do. And Congress and the president, has to act. And that's going to be it. Like there's been this, you can't have it's kind of like in San Francisco type of situation with the border. Like, you can't have a situation where, hey, if you steal below whatever, you just do, whatever, we're not going to, and then you have these Walgreens, you have a lot of shops that are just moving out. So, I mean, what's use is if there's, in some ways, like Elon says, and Bill Gurley, like we have got so much regulation and so many laws and President Trump did criminal justice reform, and maybe we need more of that. But on the other hand, if you have laws that are on the books that are not being enforced, I don't know. Anyway, you understand. There's so many different issues here. I don't want to get too embroiled in too many of them. So let's go back. Okay. This seems like a double standard, but at a deep level, it is entirely consistent. Okay. Let's see what he's going to say. Consider Springfield. Citizens are telling us that there are problems. These include the undeniable truths of higher car accidents, unaffordable housing, evictions of residents, overcrowded hospital, overstressed schools, rising rates. You know, you can read some more here. They also include, I'll leave that where it is. Okay. Kamala Harris's first strategy was to ignore these people and their concerns. Yes, she had prevented the deportation of millions of illegal aliens. Some of them made their way to Springfield, but it was a small town with no voice. Some of the local leadership even loved the cheap labor. Now, see, I will say this about Dana Bash. I believe, maybe I'm wrong. So I apologize if I'm wrong, Dana, and I'll revise and extend. But I think when she was talking to the mayor or city manager of, I think it's the mayor of Springfield, I think it's like there was a comment there, and I don't know the status. I think there was like a TPS, temporary protective status. I don't know what the I mean, let's assume that's all okay. You know that it was. I don't know all the ins and outs of that, so I'm not even going to touch on that aspect of it. But I think that Dana said something to the effect on the Sunday shows that there's all these jobs to fill in Springfield, and they're filling all these jobs. I'm like, okay, so let's think about that. So you're mean to tell me that in a town of 50, 60,000, let's call it 60,000, let's be generous, that there's 20,000 jobs that need to be filled, and there's no other people in Springfield that can fill that. There's no other Americans that can fill that. There's nobody else in Ohio that can fill that job. There's no one from New York City that can fill those jobs. There's no one else in all of America. There's no other people that maybe have come across the border that are now, have a work visa. There's no other immigrants ever. There's nobody else in the entire country that can fill those jobs. No. Those you have to that there's just, and this is all, I mean, we hear this in Silicon Valley, whether it's H-1B visas and now listen, I love Silicon Valley, and I even a long time ago I did something about the startup visa and stuff like that. I interviewed I want to say I'm blanking right now. I can't believe it. Famous VC out of Colorado. So anyway, I don't want to bring their name into it. It doesn't matter, but you know, that's a little bit of a different issue, but I mean, I'll take that for a second because that's also been talked about. It's a tough thing. We want the best of the best. Absolutely. And the All In podcast and Saxon, again, this is definitely, you want the best of the best from all over the globe, right? And of course, businesses want, you want cheap inputs and you want high outputs, right? You want to produce things as cheaply as possible and sell it for as much as you can. That's business, right? It's capitalism 101. I get it. And you want the greatest talent from all over the world. That's what makes Silicon Valley so great, as well as many other places for different things, but Silicon Valley and technology. But then you have these American students that are taking on huge amounts of debt. They're coming out with STEM degrees, and now they can't get jobs. You see the same thing in medicine as people coming out of medical school that can't find residencies. So there's these public policy balances, right? And all I suggest is that's kind of a weird thing to say that Springfield needed. It was the implication, in my opinion, if I heard it right, that needed this 20,000 people for the jobs, and they just needed from this one place. That doesn't seem like a really good argument to me. Now, nothing against anyone, anywhere, wherever they're coming from. If there was something going on there that they needed asylum, or there was whatever, I mean, whatever the proper procedures are. But there's a lot of people around the world. I saw someone else to say, "Hey, I spent $10,000 to get my wife over here legally." My wife's is an immigrant from Israel, and we spent, significant money and time. That numbers doesn't sound totally off to me. I can't recall exactly how much we did, but I mean, to do everything the right way. And all I'm saying is, if there's jobs to fill, those are two straight. Those two arguments don't go together. If there's an emergency and a reason for these people to get TPS, temporary protected status, or have asylum, or whatever it is. I mean, America's a generous country, and we understand that. We're a land of immigrants. We're all for immigration and everything like that. My great grandparents, my grandparents were immigrants from Mexico, right? And on my mom's side, wherever at some point, almost everybody is an immigrant here in America. Even super long ago, if you the land bridge, everything like that. I mean, all humans come from. I think if I remember correctly, North Africa or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll get my ancient history wrong, but something like that. So, in any event. The one argument is the humanitarian argument. The other argument is the economic argument. But it was just it's a weird argument to say like, hey, we need 20, that we need to fill 1/3 of the population for jobs here, and it can't be done in the town, and it can't be done in the state, and it can't be done anywhere else in America. It was for this reason. So I just thought that was very strange. And anyway, I don't want to take I'm getting distracted here, but I think that's the conversation that was a part of the conversation that Dana Bash had on Sunday shows with the mayor of Springfield, I think. And the point is that regardless of all the other stuff, how many people knew like, hey, that town just increased by like 1/3 or 33% or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like that can be disruptive. I grew up in a small town, and if the population just if you put a lot of people in there, it's tough. So I think that, and again, they're not going to Martha's Vineyard, they're not going to Nantucket, they're not going to Beverly Hills. So I just think that a lot of these people in the Rust Belt and Appalachia, like they don't have a lot of money. Maybe they can't move. Maybe they can barely pay their rent. We saw that here in Florida with the pandemic. A lot of people moved in, and I was talking to, I want to say Lauren Coffey from Tampa Bay Times, something like that. It's like, yeah, my rent went up $500. She was a reporter. It sounded like that was, I don't have no idea what their finances are, but it sounded like that was a significant amount of money. If my rent went up $500, I wouldn't be happy about that. You know what I mean? Like, and so when you have huge money, these things inflation doesn't affect you as much. Inflation and like gas taxes, some of these are regressive taxes, if you will, quote unquote taxes. They impact people at the middle class and the lower classes much more severely as a percentage of basis. Anyway, we're getting afield here, but this is all related, right? So let's go back to this and JD Vance. Okay. But it was small town. Some local leadership even loved the cheap labor. So the suffering of 1,000 Americans went ignored. Their next move with these stories is censorship. In Springfield, blank or foreign government calls in a blank. So they blame that on President Trump and me. The blank is disgraceful, of course, yet the media seem to relish it. This is JD Vance saying this, not me. They cover a blank, but not the blank. They cover the blank, but not the blank. They cover the blank, not the schools overwhelmed with new kids, blank. They cover the blank, not rising insurance rates or car accidents that cause them. They cover the blank, not the failures of Kamala Harris's leadership. Look, dude, JD is a good lawyer. That's all I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying? Whether you will agree with him or not. He's putting a little case together here, in my opinion. The purpose is not to turn down the rhetoric. If anything, covering the blank gives whoever makes them exactly what he wants, attention. The purpose is distraction and shame. How dare you talk about the problems of a migration in Springfield? You're endangering people simply by discussing the problems of Kamala Harris's policy. It's a form of moral blackmail designed not to make anyone safe, but to shut everyone up. Springfield is most recent, but hardly the most egregious example. There was the Hunter Biden laptop story, censored by big tech. And who can forget who didn't support Kamala Harris's Ukraine policy was drenched in the blood of blank. That last one appears to have some effect on Ruth. The most recent would be blank. The message is always the same. Don't you dare express an opinion on public affairs of your nation. The message is shut up. This is the difference between debate, even aggressive debate, and censorship. It is one thing to attack Kamala Harris for, quote, destroying the country. Another to say that President Trump should be, quote unquote, blank. is one thing to criticize overheated rhetoric and another to say that former president has invited blank on himself. It is one thing to say Donald Trump's argument about the election of 2020 are wrong. It's another thing to attempt to remove him from the ballot over it. It is one thing to say that blanks are not, in fact, being blank, and another to say that anyone who disagrees is trying to blank. Dissent, even vigorous dissent, is a great tradition of the United States. Censorship is not that. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We used to have the Lincoln Douglas debates. We've had all kinds of different things. We've had very vigorous stuff. We've been here before. You know, we've had different times of journalism, and we've had, some tough parts of our history that we've had to get through, like a lot of other places in the world as well. And we're still working on stuff, and we will continue to work on it. But we have to work on it together, and you can't get to a good place through censorship. You can't, I don't think. I mean, that's hard to imagine that, right? You can't get to, people need to be able to talk. People need to be able to have freedom of speech, liberty, opportunity, equality for everybody. That's what it is, dude. Okay. For the next 7 weeks of this campaign, I'll vigorously defend your right to speak your mind. I believe you have every right to criticize me and Donald J. Trump, even if you say terrible or untrue things about us. But when I ask you to, quote unquote, tone down the rhetoric, it's not about being nice. Our citizen has a right to every right to be mean, even if I don't like it, or empty platitudes. Instead, I'm asking all of us to reject censorship. Correct. Reject the idea that you can control what other people think or say. Embrace persuasion of your fellow citizens over silencing them, either through the powers of big tech or through moral blackmail. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I heard that there's certain platforms you can't say certain things on. I mean, thank goodness for X. I'm telling you right now, and now people should be appropriate, of course. You know what I mean? And it's on all of us to act appropriately. Again, not to get religious stuff like that, but we all have free agency. It's incumbent upon us to behave correctly. I think this will make our public debate much better, but there's something else. Reject censorship and you reject political blank. Embrace censorship and you will inevitably embrace blank on its behalf. Hey, listen, look at history. Look at history. It's, the reason is simple. The logic of censorship leads directly to one place. It's authoritarianism, right? It's state control. We can control what you say, where you go, what you think, what you do. If you violate, these thought crimes or speech crimes or whatever, then we're going to get you. I mean, if you don't support the regime, then you're in trouble, basically. And that's not a place that we want to be, right? The reason is simple. Logic censorship leads directly to one place, for there is only one way to permanently silence I'll leave that where it is. You can read that. And that's got 9.6 million views. And when I went on the air, I think we were 8.7. So a lot of people are seeing this. Listen, JD Vance is, powerful debater, lawyer. I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy, I think, in my opinion, first of all, who am I to criticize either one of them, whatever. But I feel like Vivek sometimes overcooks it a little bit. I did see him playing tennis the other day. Wow, the guy's a good tennis player, man. Unbelievable. But man, I mean, both of them super successful, both of them super smart, both of them really great advocates on the conservative side. And listen, I did get a lot of things wrong. We're all trying our best, right? But I probably wouldn't have ended it like that, but I understand Shady Vance, vice president candidate on the Republican side. But I'm telling you, I'm so happy that JD Vance is the Republican nominee as opposed to some of the other fine choices. And this is crazy. So that's what JD had to say. Let's see what Trump had to say. I think we all know. I think we know where Trumpy's going to come at, where Trumpy's going to, what Trumpy's going to say, type of stuff, in the spirit of what he's going to say. And let's just see it. Okay, Donald Trump, 50 minutes ago. There we go. Like Butler, Pennsylvania. Okay, he's got that. And then before he did a little Exodus thing here. I think it was like crypto spaces. I missed that. Then before the rhetoric lies, as exemplified with false statements made by Comrade Kamala Harris during the rigged and highly partisan ABC debate, and all of the ridiculous lawsuits specifically designed to inflict damage on Joe's then Kamala's political opponent, me, has taken. Oh, I think these two go together. So that's probably the second part of it. I would like to thank everyone for your concern, well wishes. It was certainly an interesting day. Most importantly, I want to thank the U.S. Secret Service. They did do a good job. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Sheriff Rick Bradshaw. Yep. And I may have met him at one point a long time ago. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he's been the sheriff for Palm Beach for a long time. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember. I'm not alleging that, but in his office of brave and dedicated patriots and all of the law enforcement for the incredible. And I think there's more here. Yeah, job done today at Trump International, keeping me as the 45th president and Republican nominee safe. Okay, I'm very proud to be American. I mean, dude, Trump is like, dude's larger than life, iconic. I mean, so it's a lot of crazy day, crazy week. Where we go from here, all I'm saying is hopefully things will calm down. And I know that a lot of people have been, Sachs has been saying a lot of stuff. Elon Musk has been saying a lot of stuff. Bill Ackerman's been saying a lot of stuff. There's a lot of other content creators out there. I want to put a couple words out there. We need more light, less heat. We need to work together. We need to, the next 50 days, whatever it is, I'm hoping for the best for everyone. Peace, love, happiness, safety for everyone. Let's have this campaign. Democrats win, Republicans win. Make the arguments. I'll talk about it. And let's just all treat each other the best that we can. Life goes on. So looking forward to your comment. Let me know what you think. Good show. John, did you lose it? Tell me what you think. I try to put a bunch of different concepts in here together and stuff like that. But as always, I wish you and your family the best. I wish everybody the best. Love being in America. Exciting times to be sure. But as I said before, in the grand scheme of things, particularly if you're religious or anything like that, or if you believe in aliens or universe, whatever it's just it's a little blip. So enjoy things, hug your family, live your life, all that type of stuff. All right, that's all I have for tonight. Looking forward to talking to you all on the socials. Thanks so much. Be well.